Hey everybody, this is Perch. Well, I took my daughter, who is 14 now. She's grown up on this channel. When I started the channel, she was 9, 9 or 8, 8, I think actually. Jesus Christ, time's flying. Anyway, I took my daughter to see Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool Wolverine, what are they calling it? Anyway, the Deadpool movie, the new one, it's making all the money. And we should do a review with her to get her opinion on it. She liked it a lot. It was that kind of exposure to rude humor that works for her. Now, granted, I think a lot of the references, and they get into pegging. I'd like to believe she doesn't know what that means just yet, but who knows? But like the joke about Deadpool made some kind of comment like it's like he's sitting on Pinocchio's face and they're making him lie a lot and. She just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. So it's like that kind of humor, like hit her just right. The violence was one of those things of, it's cartoonish, crazy violence and super bloody, super crazy, but also, I don't know. Of my two daughters, by the way, my older daughter has more of the temperament to watch and absorb and not be warped by a lot of this stuff. So I feel a little bit more comfortable taking her to it at her age. My younger daughter, in addition to her just being younger, it's just you could tell it's not gonna. It would not fly well. It would bother her, like people getting exploded and skin getting ripped off and other things wouldn't work. But and it won't work even 4 years from now. It's just the temperament's different. That's how kids are. Different kind of things. Anyway, went to watch this thing. There was a lot of hype around this movie, and I went, saw lots of videos. I think I listened to the Critical Drinkers thing on it and a few others, and people are saying, like this is the return to Hollywood, and I'll get here's my thoughts on it. The movie was okay. It was fun, but a couple, like if I'm being brutally honest about it, the movie slowed down the action a lot. Like if you really kind of digest what happened, this movie had a lot of talking, and I don't mean like Deadpool like riffing and making jokes, or just it every time the movie got kind of moving, the action would slow and stop. It always felt like you're getting some pretty good sequences going, then they let the air out a little bit, even toward the end. And at this point, we'll go ahead and do spoilers here. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, gonna spoil it. At the end, you get the Deadpool and Wolverine fighting through the Deadpool core, all these other Deadpools. And it's a pretty cool scene of, lots of violence, hacking their way through things. There's a bit, kind of imagine a bit with a school bus. Given the kind of over-the-top violence, I kept thinking in several of these scenes, that one, the one with Wolverine and Deadpool in the car fighting, or even the beginning, they missed an opportunity to just start throwing like buckets of blood at the windows and things. They did some, but they could have upped that like 10x and just had the whole bus dripping and everything else. And so it was weirdly muted at times with the violence to make it fully cartoonish. But anyway, they go through the bus and they hack their way through it. And then, the Deadpool start to get back up again, and we're going to keep going with the fight and everything else. And this sequence takes, I want to say 2 minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes tops. And I think I may be generous. I'd have to go back and time it. When, and so now it's like, all right, we're getting ready for another fight. And then it's like, okay, hey, this, Paul shows up and we're not going to fight now. And that's kind of at the end, the big act at the end. And you keep having these moments where you think you're going to get some action. You're all suited up, and they kind of gear you up for it. And then they and they keep going backwards. So it's hard to love this movie for me. It was fun. I liked it. It was enjoyable. It felt like a lot of the jokes that were being told at Marvel or and the multiverse's expense and other things, Fox's. I mean, there's plenty of in-humor, and that's funny. But the challenge is, if you're just on, social media, if you're on YouTube or you're on X, then you've heard all these jokes before because you've made them yourself, or these memes have existed. So several of the jokes just felt they felt like things that you saw on social media already, and so that also kind of just took a little bit of kind of air out the tires a little bit of the whole thing. Um, it's funny because I'm being critical of it. Definitely better than a lot of what was going on in Phase 4. I think watching Deadpool say something like, "Hey, you're entering the Marvel Universe, kind of a low point," is funny, given just appreciating and understanding what's happening. So overall, like the movie's enjoyable. You'll watch it, but I just found that when you get over some of the cameo surprises, and that's really what this movie is based on. The movie is based on cameos. That's the main thrust of it, and they're fun. Seeing Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, seeing Wesley Snipes as Blade, seeing Jennifer Garner. These characters kind of show up. They're good. It's fun and enjoyable, and you like watching it. But at the same time, you also, once you've seen those surprises, like if you go back for a second time, you're going back for some of the jokes, and that's cool. But that surprise aspect of, oh my God, there's Wesley Snipes, it's gone. And then you find yourself like wanting to see Wesley Snipes actually kick more ass. And they do a little battle sequence where they head out to Cassandra Nova's little base, which is in a dead Ant-Man skeleton. But you get not much. I mean, you get some kind of slow motion montage. Now, granted, these actors are older, and so maybe that's part of it. But it's like, you could have gone ahead and cut some of these sequences where they're walking around, or, they're just giving you buckets and buckets of exposition. And you could have spent another like 3 minutes on Elektra and Blade, like killing people. I mean, that would have been fun, to actually dive in a little bit. It is an action comedy after all, so you could have done more of that. Seeing Hugh Jackman return, he honestly looked like he was having a good time. It is funny. The Henry Cavill brief cameo as another Wolverine. You could put him in there, but you do kind of wonder if we're going to go another 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Keep in mind, that'd be 2034 we'd be at. Is there any reason why you can't just pay Jackman a lot of money? I mean, I have to believe that Hugh Jackman, alongside, Iron Man and Captain America and some of these other characters, would be a lot of fun. He's aging for sure, but I think it's working, and I don't necessarily know. He doesn't look old, I guess is my point. He doesn't look like you need to recast that one soon. Maybe you just rip the Band-Aid off and get to it, but why? I mean, what, you're not going to try and get this stuff going for another 20, 30 years, are you? But anyway, it's the villain. I think Cassandra Nova was a good villain. It was nice to see a truly sadistic, crazy villain for a change. That was enjoyable. They didn't. They sort of at one point kind of teased that they were going to try and redeem her, and then gave up on that, and that was appreciated because we got to just see an evil villain doing evil things, and that was nice. The whole TVA. There's an aspect to this that if you didn't watch Loki, it probably didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, and you may not have even wanted it to at that point. I think the storyline of Wade has got to say. I mean, if you think about this even a little bit, it falls apart. Like the whole anchor person, anchor hero, anchor human, anchor character in a universe. If they die, the universe starts to die off. Well, does that mean that every anchor being is immortal? Like, okay, Logan died, but he was going to die. He was going to get older. I understand he can regenerate, but there's a limit to it. And if you go over here to another universe, if the anchor being is, say, I don't know, Captain Marvel, right? Brie Larson. I mean, she's going to die at some point in her universe. So it doesn't mean every universe just dies. Is it? I don't know. There's the anchor being thing was strange, and what does that ultimately mean? Does that mean that all the anchor beings are going to come together at some point and have an anchor being movie? And what would that even look like? And would you even care? Because it really is diving more into the multiverse. So it is there's some irony there of making fun of the multiverse while simultaneously doing one of the most multiverse movies there is. Uh, so yeah, it's fun. But look, it's a good spectacle. Seeing Wolverine put on the mask is good. Seeing the cameos is again fun. It's appreciated. There was a sense for me, at least, that there was at least on the writers and the directors side of things a desire to kind of tip their hat at a lot of the superhero movies that came before the Marvel universe and acknowledge that, hey, a lot of these did lay the groundwork for what we had today, and they kind of got shuffled off on the side, and we should do something with that. And I appreciated that. I thought that was a nice nod. It Given how much money this is making, I think it is 100% likely that when we get to Secret Wars is going to be, they're just going to cameo the fuck out of that thing, as a desire to kind of recapture some of this magic. And unfortunately, it feels like for the next 4 years or so that people are going to learn the wrong lesson from Deadpool and Wolverine to go, hey, let's dive into lots and lots of cameos. Those are fun. Let's do those. Let's just go for nostalgia more, kind of double down on that. And I think you burn through that pretty quickly, but we'll see. Ride Rail's fun. Again, the movie was missing something for me. It was good. It was enjoyable. Far better than a lot of the other things in the phase 4 or 5 or whatever we're on right now. So no argument there. Oh, that was a laugh out loud moment for me was when they, when they show up at Cassandra Nova's base and it's the Ant-Man skull, his skull and his skeleton basically is her base, and Deadpool goes, "Oh, Paul Rudd's finally showing his age." And that was a good moment. I can appreciate that. Anyway, fun movie, good. Kind of makes you wonder where it goes from here. It does have the feeling of like Marvel needs to do something special, and I think they're kind of banking on Fantastic Four being that special thing that they're going to do. But they've got to have some decent stakes. I think they distanced themselves from Jonathan Majors. I think that was probably a dumb move. I think you need villains, you need characters somewhere that you're building up, and I think the end of Ant-Man Quantumania made Kang look like complete dope. So that wasn't great, but you need to do something else, I guess is my point. Anyway, Deadpool Wolverine, did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of this whole thing? Again, my daughter loved it. She liked Bullet Train more, she said. I don't know why that was stuck in her head, but she liked Bullet Train more. I like Bullet Train more. But did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.